Steven Gureño, KOR The Sports. We're here with the legendary Jim Lampley. Always a pleasure to talk to you, sir.
Thank you.
Man, we're here. It got spicy. It got spicy up there, and it just made me think. What was maybe one of your spicier press conferences that you've attended that you're like, oh man?
Oh, there've been a bunch. You know, I mean, I've seen this kind of stuff go on in Floyd Mayweather fights, in Bernard Hopkins fights, in a variety of fights that we've seen in the past. Tyson used to sometimes pop off at a middle stage of his career, etc. So I've seen that kind of stuff before, and I know that when my very dear friend Oscar De La Hoya does a long, slow burn, that at some point it is likely to erupt. So I really don't believe. I love him. I don't believe Oscar did himself any favors by dredging up a grudge that really doesn't have anything to do with this boxing match in this circumstance. Let's pay proper attention and give proper credit to a fight that exhibits a combined record for the two competitors of 109 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. How often in boxing these days do you see that? You don't see that. People are made to wait, or they wind up in circumstances where they don't get to govern the matchups, etc., etc. These guys have fought. They've fought credibly. They've fought against good opponents, and they add up to 109 wins, 2 losses, and 2 draws. Let's agree that that's special and enjoy it for what it is.
100%. I agree with you. The light needs to be put on this incredible fight right here. Oscar De La Hoya compared it to Chavez and De La Hoya when he first fought Chavez, but I don't know. I know Chavez only had the one loss to Randall at the time, but I felt like Chavez was maybe a little further than where Canelo is.
Well, if you knew enough to examine Chavez's lifestyle at that moment, you knew that was a deficit. I think we're all pretty sure that Canelo doesn't have a lifestyle deficit. So there's one difference there, right there. The other one is Munguia has 43 fights, and Oscar had nowhere near 43 fights at the moment he went in against Julio Cesar Chavez. When Oscar first went in against Julio Cesar Chavez, even his own father thought he was outmatched and did not believe that he could do what he was going to do. But Chavez did have a lifestyle deficit, and that, among other things, showed up that night. So, no, I don't think there's a direct comparison here at all. I can understand why somebody might say it, and I can understand why Oscar might say it, but no, this is different. This is a highly accomplished fighter now in the gym with Freddie Roach, with a chance to do very special things if he can get the matchmaking sort of will and cred that he deserves against arguably the greatest fighter of his generation, Mexican, American, any nationality. So this is a fantastic opportunity for Munguia to do something that 90% of the people who cover boxing don't seem to believe he can do. Yes, there the comparison is right. 90% of people didn't think that Oscar was ready for Julio Cesar Chavez, and he proved that he was. Maybe Munguia does the same thing Saturday night.
Because we're going to see, right? That's the beauty of the sport. They have to fight the fights. Obviously, this isn't David Benavidez, which I feel like most boxing fans, if there would have been a vote right, they probably would have got most of the votes. Canelo's a Hall of Famer already, if he retires today. You know, there are guys, Leonard didn't fight Aaron Pryor, right? Like, there's stuff like that has happened before, but I mean, I know that, right? I know Leonard didn't fight Pryor. Is that kind of going to be one of those things on Canelo's legacy, is people can say Canelo didn't fight David?
Canelo has moved all the way up the scale, a long way, to get to 168. I believe the first time I called him against Jose Cotto, he was fighting at 135 pounds. So he's gone all the way up to 168. He has altered his style somewhat, gone from being a pure counter puncher to a power counter puncher to get to where he is. He's achieved a lot. Benavidez is a larger body. Benavidez is on the verge of going to 175 because he probably needs to go to 175. Benavidez is a super powerful puncher. I'm not sure when I've seen that kind of punching power in a 168-pound fighter, and he's bulging at the seams at 168. With everything that Canelo has accomplished, again, 66, 2-2, I'm not sure that it's fair for the public to hold his feet to the fire and say, you've got to fight this guy. I think that it is within Canelo's rights to say, that's a different kind of thing. He's a different body and a different fighting style than what I've done. I don't need to prove anything by fighting David Benavidez. I think that's Canelo's right. Would he be giving a massive gift to boxing fans if he took the fight and fought him? Yes, he would. But if I were in a position where I could credibly stay away from David Benavidez, I would do it. He's a monster puncher. He's scary. I thought Demetrius Andrade was knockout proof because of that style. Benavidez detonated him and made it look ridiculously easy. He has great power, and my belief about Benavidez, and I've said it to him, is that someday he winds up at heavyweight. He weighed 235 when he was 13 years old. All you got to do is put the building blocks back in place in the right weight, and he becomes, forgive me, Andy Ruiz, he becomes the first really credible day in, day out contender for the heavyweight championship of the world.
No, you know, David is, like you said, is incredible. It sounds like he is moving up to 75, fighting for a position, a mandatory position with the WBC. Obviously, we know June 1st is another incredible fight against two undefeateds, Artur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol. Just stylistically, that fight is, I don't know how that develops. Because you're
fight against the winner of Beterbiev versus Bivol, that's a dream fight. If we could see David Benavidez do that, I think this is the right time in Benavidez's life for him to consider it and look at it as the opportunity that it is. You know, look, I don't want to throw any shade at Bivol. I'm amazed by him. I'm impressed by him. But he's a boxer. And we saw that against Canelo. Beterbiev is a puncher. If we could see Benavidez against Beterbiev, that's a World War III fight, or a World War VI fight, or however many world wars on we are now with the result of everything that's happening around the globe.
Yeah. Does Beterbiev beat Bivol, you think, in that matchup?
I'm not ready to pick a winner in Beterbiev versus Bivol. I'm not ready. I have to look carefully at the records and figure out whether Beterbiev has enough boxing skill to solve Bivol, or whether Bivol has the kind of chin that could stand up to what Beterbiev brings. And I'd also have to go back and look, did they meet as amateurs in the Russian system, or were they kept away from each other? I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that they were kept away from each other.
Yeah, I think you're right. People knew. Jim, always a pleasure, sir. I know you're co-hosting the live chat on ppv.com.
ppv.com, baby.
Yeah, there it is.
A new medium of communication, a new way for fans to participate in commentary on the fight.
And they get Jim Lampley. What better? Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate
My
your time.
privilege. Thank you.